Nation, thank you so much for watching and listening. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, share. It really means a lot to me. Did you know that about 80% of anyone's research opportunities in this industry, including patients, by the way, actually for patients it might be more, come from who you know and not what you know or what you apply for. And so I thought this was important because I do occasionally have done videos on networking. But this is a 2026 version with essential strategies, and it's never mattered more than ever. There's no denying the job market is experiencing significant headwinds when it comes to things like consolidation, when it comes, which have to do with private equity getting involved in this space, um, hedge funds getting involved in this space. There's a lot going on with technology, specifically AI, that is threatening people's jobs. Globalization has been a thing. If you look at what's happened with some of the CROs when it comes to outsourcing to places like India or Ireland or Latin America for things like study startup, feasibility analyst, financial specialists, things like that, there's been a lot going on even before these headwinds. So networking's always been important, but it's extremely important today in the 2026 world going forward. So there is no doubt that the antidote for all this is collaboration with peers. And those peers, eventually some of them actually become friends. But acquaintances is good enough, and allies is also good enough. Rarely you will get friendships out of this. I should say more than rarely. You'll get friendships out of this, for myself included. So the days of hoarding information are over. Today's clinical research rewards those who connect. This includes sites, by the way. So I know sites are not seeking jobs, but we're seeking our version of jobs, which is studies. The only difference is we can do as many studies as we can scale, whereas a job seeker can do one or two jobs, maybe more if they're contractors. So this is one of the reasons we started our conference, Save Our Sites. It solved real world problems. We're going into our third year now. And this is why we're doing our regional meetups, which are absolutely free. If you missed the Southern California one, we had two Southern California ones, one in Orange County and one in San Diego. We're doing another one in Houston. We're going to have another one in Raleigh. And this is all before our annual meetup, our annual conference in San Diego. So these regional meetups are free for sites or people interested in working at sites to attend. And that's why we created this. We knew there was a space. There's actually so much opportunities now. There's so much connections being happening because of LinkedIn. And I know back in the day, Facebook, but definitely LinkedIn has taken over. But some people in our industry are actually finding each other on TikTok. Others are finding on Instagram. I got several potential business opportunities because of Instagram, tons because of LinkedIn. I don't need to share it. TikTok as well. I'm also dabbling in the biotech space as a retail investor, but also as a potential advisor for some biotech companies, for some biotech startups. And for me, X is a really good platform for that. There's a lot of community around that. So it doesn't matter if you're seeking a job or you're just seeking more opportunities for yourself or your organization. Networking matters more than ever right now. You've heard the cliche, your net worth is your network, or your network is your net worth. I do think that's true, but you have to cultivate your network. It does you no good to have a big network or a bunch of random connections on LinkedIn if you're not contributing back. And this is where not only do you have to find your tribe, but you should play your part within that role, within that tribe. So it's a two-way street. Give and ask and share. This is not a zero-sum game. The opportunities in this space are plentiful if you know where to look and if you know who to engage with. Because again, 80% or so of opportunities come from people you know. Especially during tougher times, which right now we are getting out of a slowdown in our industry. It's picking up, it's picking back up, but there might be macroeconomic headwinds from the economy itself. So, not just my own SOS, Save Our Sites. You can go to ACRP, you can go to SOCRA. They have regional monthly meetups or at least quarterly meetups in some of these organizations for free. There's also special interest groups. So I know one of my colleagues, Monica Quitiva, she loves going to Chamber of Commerce meetups, and it's not necessarily for people in research, it's for just business people in general, but it's networking nonetheless. So go beyond the LinkedIn resumes, engage in niche groups within LinkedIn and engage in live streams. So there are a handful, maybe a dozen creators, content creators on LinkedIn now. Yours truly is one of them. I try to go randomly. I don't have a schedule. Sometimes I go after dark. We call it Guru After Dark. Sometimes we go early in the morning. Sometimes we go on a random day during the middle of the day. My colleagues do live streams as well through Save Our Sites. My other colleague Brad Hightower does live streams through Notifile. I know Jess Thompson does live streams. Alicia Moore does live streams. There's at least a dozen content creators going live. We have some publications within our space. Clinical Trial Leader that goes live have their own webinars. So you might have to like not just find on LinkedIn. You might go offline. You might engage with some of these people and discover some of these people on LinkedIn that actually end up doing their webinars outside of LinkedIn. There's another group, Black Women in Clinical Research. There's Latinos in clinical research. There's no shortage. It's just a matter of attending when you can and getting involved, getting active, getting engaged when you can, not just lurking. And the same thing on people's posts. I see it all the time. A lot of lurkers out there. If you just interacted with people in the comments, not even on a live stream, just in the comments on a post. Although on a live stream it happens right away because of the nature of lives. I've seen people engaging in the comments on my own live streams on LinkedIn that ended up getting closer towards jobs or maybe even getting jobs because of it. Because there's something about that instantaneous networking, which is almost as good as in person. Not quite, but almost as good as in person. So find these content creators, find just even niche content creators. They don't have to have a lot of followers. Matter of fact, the less followers, the better, because you can probably approach them in their direct messages, comment on a LinkedIn post, share, tag other people. If you highlight certain posts that you like, the content creator is obviously going to appreciate you, but also other people are going to find value, hopefully, from what you do. Now, when you go to conferences in person, and again, I don't want you to break the bank. This is why Save Our Sites is affordable, but I know the traveling and all that is expensive as well. This is why we try to have the regional meetups. When you do get a chance to go in person, you need to stand out in a way that makes you memorable for whatever it is that you need. And I'm always advocating being a generalist. I always advocate. I think it's in everyone's best interest to be a generalist. It gives you the most diversification from potential economic headwinds, from potential jobs that become obsolete, perhaps. But it also gives you more of a vocabulary to have discussions with people. But when you do go in person, you have to also be able to change gears and niche down. And so I talked in the past about finding your blue ocean strategy. Blue Ocean Strategy was a really good book written in the early 2000s. It's about how to niche down until you're not competing with anyone. And so you might find yourself competing against the noise on LinkedIn or in a conference. But if you keep niching down, maybe you go as far down as patient recruitment expert, or even more niche, rare disease patient recruitment expert, or even more niche, melanoma patient recruitment expert, like Chris White has done. The further niche you go, the less likely you are going to be competing and you're going to stand out more. So I want you to, at the same time as you're thinking about how do I diversify my skill set and become a generalist and climbing upwards as far as my skills and my capabilities are concerned, I want you to be able to hone in and niche down when you need to in order to stand out when you have to. And this is the art. It's an art of doing this, whether it's online, whether it's in person. It's definitely an art in doing this. Now, when, why is your niche important? Because ultimately everyone strives to be a generalist, but then no one really needs a generalist. They typically need, like, whenever somebody hires either an individual or an organization, they do it because they have a specific problem or maybe a couple of specific problems to solve, very niche problems. But it's nice that you also have other skills as a generalist because you never know when those skills might come in handy. And that's even the person who's looking to do the hiring is thinking the same thing. Yes, I really want this person because they're the ones who know a lot about this, XYZ, but it's also good that they know all this other stuff. That gives them insurance that, hey, even if for whatever reason their project falls apart, they still have a valuable human asset in you that can help them with other things. And if you really become a resource to other people and you start developing a brand for yourself as far as solving people's problems, that's how you grow your network. And that's how you nurture your network long term. And that's how you build it up for long-term growth. So, in order to craft your value proposition, you need a value prop when you go somewhere. My name is such and such, and I help, for example, research sites streamline operations with tech. Although these days that would be just about every pitch I get. So you have to really niche down. I help sites collect on their unreceived accounts receivables with tech. Okay, now you're talking. I'm a site owner. Now you're talking. Or I help sites find patients for their studies from their existing database with AI. This is something that one of our SOS sponsors, Phases, does. Okay, now you're talking, and now you're not really competing. That's your niche. That's your value prop. Now, if you're an individual, you need to think of your value prop as well. Who you are, who you help, and how you help. So I get asked this question a lot. I did one this morning, dunking my face in an ice water bowl. Shout out to Yomada. She told me to do that every morning, so I started doing. It gives me an excuse to do a 1 minute short every morning on whatever is on my mind that at that time. Who you are, who you help, and how you help. Very common archetype of a person that approaches me looking to get started in clinical research is I am an advanced degree holder, immigrant from another country. I'm looking to get into clinical research. What's this person's value prop? Immediately, it's the advanced degree holder, especially if it's something like I'm a site owner. So if it's a international medical graduate, meaning you are a doctor in your country, like a clinician, and you want to get started in research, first of all, you have to live in Yuma. I don't want people moving here just because of me. That puts a bunch of added pressure on me that I don't need. But there are sites in your area that would hire you. You go into those sites. Don't, this is networking too. Don't apply. Go into those sites or try to find them on LinkedIn and have the conversations on LinkedIn with those sites. I am an international medical graduate. I would love to help you as a site do whatever you need, but ultimately I would like to be a coordinator. I can do vitals. I can do ECGs. I can do lab. You already know a bunch of stuff. I can create your source. I can check quality assurance for your concomitant medications, your AEs, your SAEs. That's a huge asset. Not that many people actually have that. So again, and this applies to anyone, not just international medical graduates. Who you are, who you help, how you help, that is your value prop. Now, strategically, okay, so before the follow-up, I used to be one of my mantras on this show, follow up, follow up, follow up. We're going to get there. Active listening. All right. My YouTube channel is a good example of this. If all I did was post what I want to say, which I do a lot, but I would have ran out of topics and I would have just kept repeating the same things over and over again. But many of my video topics come not only from my own challenges at whatever endeavor I'm doing. Currently, it's Yuma Clinical Trials or Patient ACE, but from hearing other people's challenges. So when I go to a conference or when I talk to another site owner at Save Our Sites, or when I talk to a sponsor, or when I talk to a job seeker, I get video topics just by listening. And so I don't really go to conferences other than Save Our Sites. But when I listen and I really practice active listening, and I'm not very good at that. In elementary school, I actually got a D on listening. They used to grade us on that. I'm that old. I had to really work on active listening, and I'm not still not good at it, but I try to do it because those are opportunities there. And then strategic follow-up. So some people, they're not putting you off. They're very busy. You just need follow-ups. Like life happens to a lot of people. I have a newborn son. I'm really slow on my emails now. I say I'm gonna do things and then forget I said I committed to them. Follow up. Hey, so and so, I love discussing decentralized trials at the webinar. Here's the article I mentioned in the comments. Boom. Any little things like that. That's the art of mastering and making connections. Now, nurturing your network for long-term growth. I talked about this already. Share others' content. Provide value first. Before you ask for anything, give. Gary Vaynerchuk had an excellent book about a decade ago. It was called Jab, 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 Right Hook. It's essentially give, 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 then ask. All right, so what do you ask? The ask is like what you would like to get, but the give, 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 sharing others' content, celebrating their wins, recommending somebody meet somebody else that's an asset, potentially an asset to them or provides value. That is giving. Then you strategically follow up with the ask. Now, there's something called check-ins, so regular touch points. Sharing article. This is why newsletters are great. LinkedIn, by the way, the algorithm loves if you have a newsletter right now. So if you, and no one is doing this. I know for a fact right now, no one is doing this, and I'll be disappointed if nobody does it. People have done this on my stuff for videos, but not regularly and not for live streams. I mentioned all the people, all the content creators I'm aware of that go live regularly. Myself, Save Our Sites, Brad Hightower, Jen Pages, Jess Thompson, Who else did I mention? Uh, that's enough. Like look around for more. Alicia Moore. Nobody takes notes on those live streams and then provides a summary while giving credit back to the original people and putting it in a newsletter on LinkedIn. Hey, here's a summary of what I learned. Here's my take on it. Like newspapers used to have op-ed pieces, opinions of the editor. Why not your opinion on someone's live stream? You're giving those content creators uh, links back to them. You're sharing the spotlight with them. You're extending their message, and you're also subtly checking yourself in as a regular touch point to your audience. And this is how you become a connector. Amplify others by making introductions or featuring them on your platform. Well, you might be thinking, who am I to have a platform? You have a platform. If you have a LinkedIn, you have a platform. Maybe write an article on how you connected people. What's the ROI of all this stuff? The ROI is the return on investment. You're gonna see, you might get lucky and see immediate ROI, but it might take a bit longer, and that's okay. That is the moat. That is the moat that keeps the average Joe from doing what you're doing and competing with you. What is a moat? Back in medieval times, you had castles, and the way you protected the castle was with a moat. You usually had some water around your castle with some alligators or sharks in it that would like kill people that tried to get in. Your moat is the fact that this is hard. It is hard. I am not delusional in thinking this is easy. It's hard to give value first and to consider others first before you consider your own needs. But that's your moat, and that's how you're going to do it. Now, if you are organized, you're going to excel at this stuff. I'm not organized. I have teammates that are very organized, CRM, customer retention management tools, spreadsheets, notes to track connections from conferences and live streams. I mean, I wish I did all this. I don't. If you can do that and organize your network and now use it with AI to give you strategies on how to go from connection to collaboration and ask your AI, how can I take actionable steps with this person or this people to gain my key performance indicator or whatever metric you need to get taken care of. Example, maybe you watch a Save Our Sites webinar and somebody on the comments uh, became a contact of yours, right? Track that, engage with that person, then ask your AI, hey, what can I do here? This is who they are. This is their profile. This is like their role within the space. This is what I want to do. What is the best way for me to take this from a connection to collaboration? You'll be amazed at how the AI can actually give you ideas that you never even thought possible. So here we are talking about AI as a headwind for the industry, meaning it's making it harder for people to actually get jobs. But you're taking a headwind and turning it into a tailwind where it's pushing you forward to help you complete your objectives. Hopefully this was helpful. A lot of people have been asking me to do this. So here it is. SaveOurSites.com. Like, subscribe, comment, share. Catch you guys later. Bye bye.